For about a year, I spent $1,500 a month to learn what I'm about to share with you in this video. For 1 year, I worked with the Shadowwork integration coach, someone who has a double PhD in psychology, and more specifically, something called Carl Jungian psychology about the shadow. And working with this coach for 1 year completely transformed my life more than anything else that I've experienced. And it's using one simple technique that I'm gonna share with you in this video for transforming your life from the inside out. Now, prior to working with the Shadowwork integration coach, I found myself tuning to other people's energy a lot. Some of this was subconscious. But I found myself not only not feeling confident about myself, I felt like there was something wrong with me deep down. There was a certain level of shame that came from my childhood. I'd find myself tuning to other people, wanting their validation or approval. I would find myself reliving similar childhood pattern dynamics over and over again, attracting people that were very similar to certain energies from my childhood. I'd find myself embodying certain patterns that I resented in certain family members as well. Things I was like, oh, I'm not like that. I'd realize, whoa, actually sometimes I am kind of like that. And I'd find myself feeling frustrated, not knowing how to shed the patterns of the past, feeling like I was trapped in a reality where I wasn't respected. I was tuning to other people to get my needs met. I felt like kind of a leaf in the wind in some ways, even though I had success in my life. I had a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers. What I realized from working with this coach is that part of trying to create that was me trying to escape the feeling of that shame, me trying to build up upon that. But over the course of a year of using this one technique I share with you in this video, everything transformed from the inside out. I started to feel confident within my own frame, safe within my own body. I stopped tuning to other people to get my needs met. I stopped attracting similar character patterns from my childhood. And my whole entire life transformed from the inside out. Now, the goal and the intention behind this video is that the $15,000+ I spent, the year I spent learning all of the things that I'm gonna share with you in this video, my goal is that you are able to apply them in the next month to completely transform your life from the inside out. So this is also a video that kind of happened by accident. I did a video on Instagram Live a few days ago. And towards the end of that live, I had so many people asking me to keep the live up because they said they had epiphanies while watching it. And after I posted this live on Instagram, I had people that were DMing me and even commenting on the video itself saying this video changed everything for them. And in that video, I explained and debriefed everything that I learned about the individuation process and how it will help you create magnetic energy, how it will help you completely transform your life from the inside out. And you're gonna learn that in this video. Now, I know there's other distractions going on. I know that you might have your phone, you might have TikTok, you might have something going on in the background. Commit to finishing this video and then comment below in a month from now the changes that have happened in your life. And if you're watching this a month after it's already gone live, read some of the comments to see what's possible for you as you apply what I share with you in this video. So your homework for today is to watch this video to the end, and that if you do that, I promise you that one of the insights, even just one of the insights you get in this video that was a game changer for me, if you apply it in your life using this one simple technique that I share in this video, you will notice your life transform in ways you couldn't even possibly imagine right now. So without further ado, let's get into the video right now. The power comes from a form of individuation. The lack of individuation in the past is why there's an attachment to what other people think and feel, is why there's an attachment to tuning to other people's frame. And when you bring your energy back and you individuate and you choose yourself, can everyone type in choose yourself? Choose yourself. And people always say, Aaron, what does it mean to choose yourself? What does that mean? I want to choose myself. How do I choose myself? You want to know how to choose yourself? Anytime you tune to your own body and tune to your own emotions and tend to your own needs, you are choosing yourself. The thing is when people don't choose themselves, they're tuned to the outer environment. They are tuned to their friends and what their friends want them to do, even though they may not want to do whatever that is. So they abandon themselves to make other people happy. And when people abandon themselves to make other people happy, they are not choosing themselves. So choosing yourself is about going through the proper processes of individuation. Let me read this to you. We're going to get to the candle here in a minute, by the way. I'm going to read this little, it talks about individuation. To think, to judge, to choose our own values is to be individuated, to create a distinct personal identity. But thus to affirm that I exist is to open myself to the realization that I am infinite, that I am finite, that my life is limited, that I am mortal, and that one day I will die. There's a couple different interesting things there. There's the realization. Sometimes the realization that, look, I think about this sometimes, by the way. It's trippy. Like, I'll be somewhere and I'll realize that in 50 to 70 years, like if I'm in a place where there's a lot of other 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, I'm like, holy shit, like 50 years, everyone's going to be dead. Like most of the people in this in that room of where I'm at, if that's like, you know what I mean? Life is finite. And when people live their lives trying to please everyone else, they waste so much time trying to please everyone else. So there is power in realizing, holy shit, in like 100 years, none of this is going to be here. Like this house that I'm in right now, in 100 years, may be here, may not be here. 100 years, it's a blip. It's like this. But so many people live as if they're going to live forever. And they abandon themselves to make everyone else happy when none of it matters. It does not matter what other people think. And just as many people in the world as there are that many perceptions of you. But here's the crazier thing. This is kind of the most empowering thing and a little bit depressing from some people's point of view. Real quick, I'm not sure if you've heard, but there is an app called High Viber, which is an app where we do monthly challenges, we do monthly live activations. There's other high vibe people in there that are doing this kind of inner work. And I just posted a workshop in there that is the step-by-step workshop on how to use the frame technique. So if you want to check it out, all you got to do is download High Viber app. You do have to apply to be a part of it, but you will get approved in the next couple days once we review your application. But yeah, this is something that I'm putting a lot of energy into, and I think it's really important that we all connect together and we do this kind of inner work in a safe space. So if you want to join High Viber, it's on Android, it's on Apple, it's an actual app, and all you got to do is go to www.highviber.com or click the link below, download the app, apply, become a part of the community, and transform your life from the inside out. So let's get back to the video. No one cares. No one cares. Everyone is focused on themselves. Everyone. You go out. I remember when I was first getting on YouTube, I went out on the Las Vegas Strip because I wanted to get good at being on camera, and I was so worried about what other people thought of me. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to go and I'm going to use this little tripod and I'm going to go down the Las Vegas Strip and I'm going to talk into it loudly. And I first started doing this on the Strip when it was loud around me, so it wasn't that big of a deal. There were some people staring at me, but I was like breaking through that, whatever. You want to know when it got a little bit nerve-wracking? When I went into the Caesar Forum shops where it wasn't loud. It was like I was walking around and people could hear what I was talking about. And I'm walking through the Caesar's Forum shops making a spiritual YouTube video on a tripod. I wish I still had it so I could show you. You could see me going through a process of like caring what other people think, feeling everyone else's energy. You want to know what happened? As I'm walking around with this selfie stick, as I'm going through Caesar's Forum shops, here's what I realized. No one gives a shit. Everyone everyone, literally everyone is focused on themselves. Everyone only cares about themselves. Now, when I say that, it can sound a little bit depressing, but it is so liberating. It means go out and put yourself out there, because everyone's just thinking, and if you trigger someone else, you trigger what you represent to them, so it's still about them. Like anytime I see a YouTube video or a YouTube comment that's negative, I don't trip. I realize that there are parts of me that trigger other people. That's okay. It's actually a good thing. It's not like I'm like, oh, bring it on. But it's like I realize that the degree to which my message is growing in the world is the degree to which it'll open itself up to people that aren't used to seeing my content or even don't like me. And if I can accept that, then it's all good. But whatever triggers them about me, it's what I represent to them. Realize you can only be triggered by someone else if it also exists within you. Think about your biggest triggers with people in your life. The biggest triggers you have in your life are things that have to do with things that remind you of yourself. There's something true about that within yourself. And it's hard to look at. So it's easy to project it onto somebody else. But individuation. So like growing up, think of it. Individuating from mom. You're born. You go through the womb. You plop out. You have then created a form of separation from mom. You were one with mom. Now you are not one with mom. Then mom tends to your needs. Then what happens? At about 7 years old, you go through another process of individuation. And that individuation process at around 7 years old is where you can kind of go off and be separate from mom. She kind of knows you're around, but you can go outside and play. You can have friends. And you begin individuating. Now what happens is if you weren't able to individuate in a healthy way, meaning mom was overbearing, looking over you, like, is everything okay? I can't trust you to be by yourself. Is everything okay? Is everything okay? It then wires in a belief that says, I'm not empowered to be individuated. I'm not empowered to think for myself. Think about that. By the way, think about this when it comes to going to school. Just do what you're told. Just do what you're told. Don't individuate. Don't think for yourself. Just do what you're told. They did a study with this, where what they did is they did this study with people where what they would do is they would have people that would run this study or this survey with other people. Actually, I'm going to use a different example. No, I'm going to use this example. And what they would do is these other people were doing some type of survey where every time they got a wrong answer, the people that were leading the survey were instructed to shock the other person with high voltage. And there were different buttons. And some of the buttons, they were told to just keep giving them a higher shock every time they get an answer wrong. And I don't know I think it was like a fake test to where they weren't really getting shocked, but they were pretending or something. I don't know. But basically, they were incentivized, or they were told, keep increasing the shock until where it says like very heavy dose of electricity. And they were told to do this in the survey. Now, when it got to the button that said extremely high dosage of electricity, like dangerous dose of electricity, how many people do you think out of these universities got to the point of pushing that button because they were told to? What percentage do you think it got to? What do you think a percentage of people that pushed that button was? It was 85% of people. 85% of people that were told, give this person a high degree of electricity because they got an answer wrong during a survey, did it. Only 15% of people said, I am individuated, and even though you are telling me to do this, I believe it is wrong. Do you see what I'm saying here? People blindly are doing what other people tell them to do because that's the way they've been conditioned. They have not been individuated to think for themselves. Another example, have any of you seen that YouTube video where what people do is they go into this fake waiting room, and what they do is these people are in a waiting room, and every time this little noise goes off, it goes beep, this person will get up and stand and then sit back down. And that beeping would happen every like 5 minutes. No, not even, every like minute or two. And what happens is some new person would come into the room, and there were 2 or 3 people that would be acting out doing this thing where they stand up, beep, they stand up, and then someone else new that comes in would then eventually be like, oh, I guess everyone else is standing up with the beep. I must stand up with the beep. So then they get up and stand up for the beep. Because if other people are doing it, it must be what everyone else does, even though it's ridiculous. Everyone is standing up when it beeps for no reason. So what happens is at beep, we all stand up at this waiting room for this doctor's office for no freaking reason, and then we sit back down. And then what happens is here's the crazy thing. 2 or 3 people are doing it. This lady comes in, she starts doing it with him for like 5 minutes. Those 3 people over the course of 10, 15 minutes leave. She's then the only one there. Someone else new comes in. Guess what? She keeps doing it. She then became the leader for everyone else to do it. She goes, oh, and someone else looked at her and she was like this shy Asian chick. And she was like, oh, everyone else is doing it. And then everyone else, and then the other guy that came that was also like being tested, he did it too. It's like a YouTube, what do you call it? Not a prank, but like an experiment. Why is it that everyone is doing what everyone else is doing? Because it feels safe to be in the tribe, because of evolutionary psychology. Individuation is, were you empowered as a kid to think for yourself, to create your own values for yourself, to think, to judge your own and choose your own values. Choosing yourself is about choosing your own values, choosing to think for yourself, choosing to or not to judge different aspects of your life in your own way, instead of tuning to other people. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Instead, it's, what do I think? How do I feel? What do I believe? That's the sense of self. When you talk about individuation, there's this candle right here. Why is this candle here? I made a meditation yesterday for the frame technique. One of the most powerful, simple exercises I've shared on my YouTube channel that hundreds of thousands of people have benefited from. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying it works. It's so simple. The flame. Think about this flame right here. When you're looking at the flame and you're looking at it and you feel the separation between you and the flame, when you're able to feel the separation between you and the flame and really focus on the flame, and focus on feeling inside of your own body, you create a healthy sense of boundary between you and the flame. And what you do is on the in-breath, you focus on that separation. On the out-breath, you focus on peripheral. You keep your eyes focused on the flame, though. And everything in our life is a balance of self versus other. Self versus other. Think of the flame as self, and everything around it is other. Your connection to self, and you're also connected to everyone. But what you want to do is bring the energy back to yourself and start tuning to, what do I value? What do I believe? What do I think? How do I feel in this situation? Do I want to go do this with friends that want to do this, but do I actually want to do that? What do I think about being told to zap people with electricity in an experiment because people told me to, even though it's a high dosage, as that experiment I was just sharing? What do I think about going into a waiting room and everyone gets up? Beep! Everyone gets up. Okay, everyone get up. Okay, now sit down right after the beep. Okay, everyone get up with the beep. It's ridiculous. But people do not stop to ask themselves, what do I think? What do I think? How do I feel? What do I value? Individuate yourself from mom and dad. And now you say, well, maybe I didn't individuate properly. Maybe I wasn't empowered to think for myself as a kid. Maybe I went to a school system where I was told what to think and believe. But realize, you can individuate now. Now, there's layers to this. okay, there's a deeper layer here. The deeper layer is that growing up, if mom or dad did not meet your needs, there's most likely a story about the feminine or the masculine in reality. And what happens is when people do not and cannot trust mom or dad because there's a mom or dad wound there. I've noticed this too, by the way, about trusting the masculine. People, a lot of times, I've noticed, if they have trouble trusting the masculine, they also have trouble trusting the universe. Boom. They have trouble trusting the universe. Because as growing up, us, the way we relate to our parents is we literally believe that our parents are God. We think of them in that high of light. So when our needs aren't met, we then internalize and say, I must not be good enough. Everything else must be good enough in reality, but I must be not. But when we feel like we can't trust because if something happens, we then stop trusting ourselves. We may then stop trusting the universe. And a lot of times I see this with people that have the masculine wound. They then they want to create business or this or that to compensate for not being able to trust the universe. Go with the flow. So individuation, part of this process is about creating a more powerful connection with deeper archetypes within reality. Now, the way that I see about this is instead of putting the huge, yes, maybe mom and dad weren't able to completely meet your needs as a kid because they had their own shit going on. Here's one thing that can help you with this. Instead of mom, you can connect to Mother Earth, and realize that you are a cell on the planet of Earth. Mother Gaia is connected to you, and she unconditionally loves you. If she did not unconditionally love us, we'd have been destroyed by now. So one powerful thing to do to connect to the Divine Mother is to connect to Mother Gaia. Mother Gaia is unconditional in her love. She'll never let you down. She'll hold you, exactly. And what you can do is meditation where you connect your heart down to Mother Gaia. And what you do is as you do that, you start to connect to nature, your own divine feminine energy within yourself. That's how you can connect to the Divine Mother. The Divine Father, on the other hand, can be that of spaciousness, space, the sun. And as you connect to the Divine Father, you can start to develop a trust in the universe, a trust within God source energy, which is already within yourself. And as you start developing a connection, like the pain that you experienced with your mom and dad was a gift because it helped you seek the divine. It helped you seek spiritual awakening, something deeper within yourself. And if you didn't go through the pain of your childhood, you may not be on the spiritual journey. We all need the pressure in our lives, many times from childhood, to help us go on the spiritual path. So by connecting and individuated from mom and dad, you can begin to recreate a connection with Mother Gaia and Father Sky, Father Sun, the Divine Father, stillness, spaciousness. And as you develop this connection with yourself, you are the center point. You and your heart center are the center between these two energies. Then you can begin individuating in the sense of, what do I think? What do I feel? What do I value? And bring the awareness inside of your body and feel the separation between you. And it doesn't have to be a candle. It doesn't have to be a candle. It can be any object. When I would do this with my old shadow work coach I used to work with, he taught me this idea of the frame technique, and then I called it the frame technique, and I put it on YouTube. I would be with him on the call, on the Zoom call, and he'd be like, look at it. I would look at the light. You want to know what I look at? The light of the fire, like the fire extinguisher things with a little bleeping light. The little like green light. I would stare at that and then feel the separation between me and that because I didn't have a flame around. It could be anything. Flame, I love flames. I love candles because I've been meditating, staring at a candle since 2012. But feel the separation. It's called the frame technique. It's very simple. Finally, to think for oneself is to face the fact that one's own being and thus to confront the possibility, perhaps the terror of non-being. Interesting. Many people dread independent thought and judgment precisely because of this factor of inescapable aloneness. It makes them aware of their own separateness in living entities. It makes them aware of the responsibility they must bear of their own existence. The fear is, if I individuate and think for myself, everyone will leave me. Mom and dad will reject me. Partner will accept me. It's furthest from the truth, though, the funny thing. The more you are in your own frame and unapologetic about it, the more magnetic you are, the more people respect you, even if they don't agree with you. So individuating is about developing your own sense of self, your own sense of values, your own sense of thinking. And the degree to which you individuate is the degree to which you're in your own frame, is the degree to which you are magnetic. To individuate means to choose yourself. To choose yourself means to choose your own values. Choose to feel inside of your own body. Choose to say no to things you don't want to do. To choose to tap into yourself to say, what do I feel about this situation? What do I think about it? How do I feel in my body right now? And the degree to which you do that is the degree to which you feel safe within your own frame. 333 people on, as I said that. What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean that there are 300 people on, 333 people? It's a divine number that we all give meaning to. It's a divine number too that we all give meaning to. Everything in life has no built-in meaning other than the meaning we give it. We can all agree that 1111 is a divine synchronicity. It's a divine number. Or we can realize that it's a neutral construct, but we all agree that it's special and divine because we develop our own meaning in reality. You guys realize that? You give meaning to everything. We all do. We also agree to certain meanings. So it's like, oh my God, it's 1111. Make a wish. And then we agree, oh, 666 is negative. It's bad because of the meaning we collectively give it. But people forget that they are the source of all that. You decide what things mean. Every now and then, I'll see on my iPad, I'll check the time, it'll say 911. 911. Oh my God, it says 911. Oh my God, it's such a bad thing. And then I wake up and I remember, oh my God, I get to choose the meaning to this. I could give it no meaning. I could give it a positive meaning. I could give it a negative meaning. I give it meaning. Is it universally built into reality that 911 is negative because it's what you call when you go to this when you go to an emergency? It's what happened on September 11th, 911, 9/11. Oh my God, it's so bad. But what I'm saying is, you relate to the date, you relate to the thing, the meaning. You are the source of it all. You are the source of it all. You decide what things mean, but we forget it sometimes. Why do we forget it? Because it's a big burden. Holy shit. You mean I generate meaning of my reality? You mean I have to take responsibility for what I experience in my life? That's a heavy meaning. I don't know if I can handle that. How about instead of me taking responsibility for what things mean, how about everyone else is the problem? How about everyone else is the problem? How about everyone else is the problem and things are just fucked up in the world? It's a lot easier. So the main lesson of today is if you didn't properly individuate from mom and dad, which many of us, maybe the needs weren't met as a kid. But if you're tuning to other people, basically what's happened in childhood is you were in your own frame at one point, or maybe, you remember, like Remember the analogy? You come out of mom, plop. I'm now separate from mom. Mom then meets my needs. 7 years old comes around-ish. I can go play by myself, or mom's overly bearing, like, oh, is everything okay? Is everything okay? Is everything okay with you? I don't know if I trust you. Or mom's emotionally distant. It's like, no one gives a fuck. Either way, something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I must tune to mom or dad in order to make everything okay. Tune. I will then expand my energetic field, not just to be safe within my own body, but my field now includes mom and dad as well. How can I be different so that mom and dad feel good? How can I ease tension in this household? How can I be who I need to be for my siblings? And it's a tuning to everyone else, tuning to the external, tuning to the external. There was no proper individuation process. So the individuation process where you become aware, oh my God, I never really properly individuated. I never really started to feel safe within my own frame of reality. Bring your energy back and become aware of what are my values. What do I think? What do I feel about this? Who the hell am I? What values do I choose? Not what values was I given. What values do I choose? And then realize that as you start to express the real you, there's going to be some fears that come up. Because we're afraid that if we express what we really think, if we express what we really feel, there's going to be people that don't like that. You're going to have to lean into tension. And tension sometimes is scary. Because in childhood, tension was scary. When you were in school and you didn't think of something and you argued, you got in trouble. Just shut up, Jimmy, listen, and do the test. Tension is good. Tension is good. Lean into tension. Express the real you because you're fighting for a bigger cause. The cause is that you are individuated within yourself. You choose your own values and you stand for something. I was watching the show The White Lotus the other day. How many of you seen the show The White Lotus? And in The White Lotus, there was, in the first season, there's a guy, the dad, who is dealing with, like, the dad and this mom who's like this, the mom is like this super boss chick who's like super masculine, and the dad's like demasculate or whatever, emasculate or demasculated. But anyways, he's like tuned to the wife and trying to, like, he just isn't in his own frame. And one day they're at dinner, and one of the daughter's friends, who's like the daughter's the one from Euphoria, I don't even know her name, but her friend was like, "What do you stand for?" He's like, "What do you mean, what do you stand for? But what do you stand for? What do you actually believe yourself?" And it was a way of like testing his frame. When they're at dinner one night, that happened. And it made me think, it's like there's a lot of times people, you ask them, what do you stand for? And they don't know. What do you want me to stand for? What do you think is cool that I stand for? What would you accept me if I stood for? And that's why you have the woke movement where everyone's all woke now and everyone's standing for something that seems, in my opinion, a lot of it's stupid, ridiculous, and overly sensitive. People are so sensitive now. But what do you stand for? People so desperately crave, damn, that was cool. People so desperately crave to stand for something that what ends up happening is they end up choosing petty little shit to stand for. But what do you really stand for? What do you really deep down stand for? That's what you want to become aware of. It doesn't have to be some larger overall mission, but like tune to what do I stand for? People just want something to be angry about. I think of Mr. Beast. You guys know Mr. Beast on YouTube? He has these videos that come out where what he does is he had one video where he helped 1,000 blind people see. 1,000 blind people see. He paid millions of dollars so that 1,000 blind people could see again. You want to know what people did about that? Some people, a certain percentage of people got very angry at that. Oh my God, who would make a video about that? Why don't you just do it and not make a video about that? Oh my God, this is so selfish. You're doing it for views, blah, 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 blah. Holy shit, is that at the end of the day, he's helping 1,000 people see, and he just did a new video on helping 1,000 people hear again. He spent $3 million to help people hear again. Who gives a fuck if it's for views? Who gives a shit? But people want something to be angry about. Oh my God. People don't have anything else going on sometimes, so they want to get angry about stupid shit. Because they don't stand for something within themselves. 333 people on here. Let's give it a good meaning. Oh my God, I saw it again. It's so good. I'm so in alignment. It's 11:23, 11:23, 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, it's 11:23. I'm in alignment. Individuate. Be yourself and say, what do I believe? What do I believe? Not what did I have to believe growing up in order to get accepted and approved. What do I believe? Yeah. Sometimes we have nothing better to do in our lives than to get upset about bad energy or whatever and be in bad energy. I think a lot of times there's an addiction to drama. There's an addiction to drama. Something to get angry about, something to stand for. Mr. Beast helped 1,000 people see, but he made a video about it. That is so bad. Come on. Why don't you go out into the world, you help 1,000 people see, but don't make a video about it. He makes videos for a living. You can help other people. It's like, why not do it within the modality that you're passionate about? And I'm just saying this. I'm not like, I don't watch Mr. Beast a lot or anything. I respect him because he's a big, he's done what he's done on YouTube. It's pretty inspiring. But guess what? I'm just saying, I think sometimes people are just so freaking sensitive in society nowadays. They internalize everything. And what you stand for is like, you can choose what that is for yourself. And you can choose to buy into petty little superficial things, or you could choose to just do your own thing. And remember, beginning of this video, who would you be if you knew that no one was thinking about you? No one was overly judging you. Who would you be? How would you show up in the world? Because at the core level, everyone is just thinking about themselves. And in 100 years from now, none of this is going to be here. None of it. None of this is going to be here in 100 years from now. For us, we're going to be ascended into the fucking 8th dimension or whatever, okay? We're not going to be here. So might as well, while we're here, start asking ourselves, who am I? What do I believe? Individuate from mom and dad, and as you individuate from mom and dad, and you say, what are my values? What do I think? How do I feel about this? What do I think about this? You can then choose how you show up in the world. But we're all going to be gone in like 100 years. And imagine you live your life tuning to everyone else, tuning to mom and dad. Mom and dad aren't there, so now it's boyfriend, girlfriend. This person, you're like, well, you're crushed. Oh my God. Who gives a fuck? Because everyone is just thinking about themselves. It's the most liberating. It's like the mean. Everything in life has no built-in meaning other than the meaning we give it. It is the most empowering concept. It is the most empowering idea and the most scary and depressing as well at the same time. It's a paradox. You mean I give meaning to things? Remember, 331 people. Oh my God, let's get to 333 because it's such a divine heavenly number. It was just 333. Did you see it? It went to 333 and then 3. It's all just meaning we are generating together. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Or does it? Depends on you. You then realize I have the burden of choosing what things mean in my life. It's a big burden. Not everyone wants the burden. It's a lot easier to say, life just sucks. Things are unfair. I don't realize I generate meaning in my life. Therefore, I'm just going to say it sucks because my childhood. That's pretty much it. Peace. Peace. Anytime I say a P, look at that. It's the end. Love you guys. Talk to you guys later. Peace. Much love.